belt swung and it did not reach its target because I ran. I went outside, didn't come back until he was gone. Came back, packed all of my belongings, packed them into one single white hefty trash bag. I took every picture of us together and took every single one of them and ripped them off. And off I went. Called my boss and said, Mike, I got a problem. I think I can fix it, but I need some time. So my boss, as luck would have it, his kid had just graduated from San Diego the year before, and he was off to the Air Force, and he had a spare room, and he said, you can stay here for a while, but it's not too long. So I got a place to stay for 2 months, and I figured things out after that. So for all intents and purposes, I've been on my own since I was 14. So we finished the freshman year. I find some folks that were willing to help me, and the deal was very simple. You get a room, you take care of your food, your clothing, all of your expenses, and you have to contribute to the household by doing chores and helping out. Oh, and by the way, you gotta get good grades. It's a heck of a bargain. You gotta take it. So I took it. One of the things that I learned about that is very simple. You do the right thing, and there's always somebody that's willing to help. There's always somebody who's willing to help. So the freshman year ends. Things are going well. I come back. I work all summer long, construction, all that stuff. I come back. So the path is the following: ESL 1, ESL 2, ESL 3. I don't know if it's still the same, but this is what it was then. Intermediate English. Then on your 5th year, you get to take English, regular English, whatever that grade is. So I skipped one, did 2 and 3. So my sophomore year, I'm scheduled to be in intermediate English. I show up. Teacher politely shows the curriculum, tells us what we're going to do this year, and it doesn't look to me that it's going to be fast enough. Because you got to remember, I'm in a hurry. So I get up, and unfortunately, not politely, I say that this is not enough for me, and I walk out. Walk down to the counselor's office and say, this is not going to do. I need to be in I want regular English class now. And she hems and haws, and I'm not leaving that office, so she just relents and gives me my shot at English 10. So I take it. And English 10 would be one of the most important classes I took because it represents the biggest challenge, but also my biggest win. In the spring of my sophomore year, we were studying the existentialists, Camus, and it threw me into a tailspin. When I tell you that I was a regular teenager and I had all the anxieties in the world that we have, I had it. And the world was ending for me, and I couldn't get out of it. And so I got good grades the first semester of sophomore year, but the third quarter it was brutal. And so Dennis me and the guy who was helping me, he goes, he got the card, the report card, and he was not happy, and he let me know. And he had a very, very, very strong weapon. He says, you know the deal. If this continues, you're out. It's a lot of motivation. So then I had to look really, really deep in myself, and I had to turn it back around, and I got an A out of English now. And I can't tell you how hard I worked that last quarter. But, I had to wake up call. So then, between 10th and junior year, took summer school because I could, not because I had to. Because I'm in a hurry. I need to learn. I need to learn now. I come back in the fall of my junior year, and I show up for regular English 11. Classroom's down there. And they got this giant man who's a bodybuilder in front of the class. He spends 10 minutes talking about bodybuilding. And then he gets into what we're going to cover in English 11. And between the bodybuilding, I was a wrestler, so by then I had developed a bias against bodybuilders. It's for looks, it's not for strength. Just that didn't contribute to. And then the curriculum. So I stood up, said the same thing. This is not for me, it's not enough. Walked down to the office, talked to the counselor, and this is where things got interesting. Because she said, and I quote, "There's no place I can put you. There's no place left." And I said, "But there is. There's honors English left." And she goes, "But you don't understand, that is gate. That is gifted and talented education, and those children have been tested all their lives to be in that class. I don't care. That is where I want to go." And I would not leave that office. I just flat out wouldn't leave. So she just didn't know what to make of me. She finally relented and called Mrs. Greer, who taught Honors English 11. She came down to the office. She might have a free period or something. But we had a conversation. And the conversation was pretty much, I want in. Finally, Mrs. Greer pulls me aside and looks at me in the eye and says, "If I let you in, you absolutely have to promise me that you're going to try your best. You gotta understand we're breaking all manner of protocol or rules here to let you in." So I got in. And I would argue that my intellectual education is owed in large. I owe all of it to 11th grade English. I proceeded to not only read the curriculum. If you're wondering, first of all, if you're wondering how I learned English so fast, I'm not a genius. Okay, let's get that out. Individual determination. I'm not a genius. Okay? But I figured out really quickly that if I read books, I could learn faster. So I did. I started with Make Your Own Story in the middle school library, moved up and up, read little Steinbeck my freshman year, and moved into more harder stuff my sophomore year. But then my junior year, in addition to reading the curriculum, I probably read about 40 other books, all in the Western canon. Okay, all the classics. I like to say that I gained a classical education because it allowed me to learn faster. One thing that is very important at all of this is the following. You got to understand that if I'm me as a 9th grader, as an 8th grader, and I'm in a classroom with kids like you, and I get up and say that this class is not good enough for me, you don't make too many friends. People would ask me, "What do you think? Are you trying to be better than us?" And my answer was very blunt. Better than you is not good enough. I have to be better than me. I did not know it at the time, but I was quoting Faulkner. There's a quote in Faulkner somewhere. You ought to be better than yourself today. So I proceeded to read all of that. It's a lot of books. This is in addition to, being in the wrestling team, being in the cross country team, being in the track team, having to work every single day. I kid you not, every single day that I was not in school or was not doing a sport, I was working. I found people who wanted to help me, who would give me work. Even one of the teachers, Mr. Stimson, who taught physics, hired me for stuff. He was building his own house. He was a physics teacher. He wanted not to be just a paper physics. He wanted to be physics and practicing physics. And so he built his own house, and I helped him every single day. And we get to the end of Honors English 11. Did my paper on Hemingway, read every single work of his. Got it? By then, it was pretty obvious that I'd go somewhere. So the counselor said, given my name to one of the recruiters that had come into San Diego out of the University of Minnesota. I got pulled out of class, went to the cafeteria, listened to her talk, tell me about this place in the middle of nowhere, and how wonderful it is, how beautiful snow is. And then at the end, she pulled me aside. She had been privileged to a little bit of my story. And she said to me, if you finish, if you pull it off, apply to the University of Minnesota and apply for this specific scholarship. So I took the card in my wallet, saved it. And then I met Blaise Newman. What you have to understand is that you're incredibly privileged to study under Blaise Newman. I studied under Blaise Newman and Michelle Mullen. About 3 weeks ago, I was having dinner with a friend of mine, and his wife's a teacher, and we're talking about this trip, and I was talking about how I was going to talk to you, and asked me about my teachers. And she says, I know them. I met him at the AVID conference. And then she said, wow, you were a student of Blaise and Michelle. And I quote, they're luminaries of the teaching profession. That's the privilege that you get. So I got to be in her class. Wrote an incredible college essay. She had to put up with the fact that I was, by then I had become a pretty competitive wrestler. I had to make a run at that, and I had to compromise between 100% academics or split. In my opinion, it worked out for me. I made a run at both. So, the results. My senior year, captain of the wrestling team, CIF champion, made it into Time Magazine, made it into San Diego Tribune, had the nerve to only apply to University of California schools and to only apply to the University of Minnesota. Not that there's anything wrong with the state schools, but that's you. By then, I wanted more. I had a higher expectation. And if I had known then what I know now, I would have applied to a private school instead. I had accepted University of California, San Diego, University of California, Santa Cruz, and University of Minnesota, and I was given half tuition at the University of Minnesota. I applied for 15, 20 other scholarships. I got 8, which is surprisingly enough, those 8 added to the other half of the tuition at the University of Minnesota. So full tuition, no room board. A friend of a friend of a friend of Blaise in St. Paul, Minnesota, heard about my story and said, we want to help. But first he's got to write a letter. So I wrote the letter. They took me in some conditions. For him to stay, fend for yourself, do well in school. The summer after my senior year, after 5 years of not having seen my mom, my brothers and sisters, I made a trip down to Mexico. And you gotta understand, during that period of time, I had to make one very, very tough choice. The tradition, the expectation is that as the oldest son, I was supposed to come to America, work, and send money. I chose not to. You have no idea what that does to a person to make that decision. If we look long term, though, it was the right decision. Because although I did not give my brothers and sisters any money, unbeknownst to me, I gave them what they needed, which was an example. And it would turn out to be worth a heck of a lot more than any money I would have given them. They all educated themselves. Every single one of them. I have a brother who manages luxury hotels in Tijuana. I have a sister who's a banker just like me. She studied in Spain. They're all self-made. Whatever they made of themselves, and they made something of themselves, they can't say that they owe it to me. So I went down there, worked really hard, construction again, and then spent all my money going to Mexico. Moved them to Tijuana. They were supposed to come to America, and then after a while they said, nope, this is where we're staying. And then I end up here. Don't have any money, I hitchhiked to Minnesota. Start my freshman year, finish that. I'm still in a hurry. I'm still in a hurry. Because you gotta understand that I knew that it would end sometime. And I was going to ride this thing until it ended. And I was going to get the most out of it that I could. So when I enrolled in freshman year, I took all the classes I was allowed to take. I learned Italian. I can speak it, I can carry a conversation. I can write it better than I can speak. I took Greek mythology, poetry. I was a biology student, but I was taking all that stuff. Then the end would come. And the end would come in an unexpected way. But I kind of sensed it. All the scholarships I got, except for the University of Minnesota scholarship, were 2-year scholarships. They're designed to get me in the door, but then they run out 2 years after. I walked into financial aid and they said to me, no. The end of the road had come. I was very fortunate that I had a loophole that I could exploit. There were no Remax then. But I had a loophole I could exploit. And I spent some time and effort and I figured it out and eventually got my paperwork figured out and became a legal resident in this country. By then, of course, I'd been out of the university. I became a non-resident from a tuition standpoint. And I made I go out working and going to school full time. It did not work. Then I landed on my career. And what I knew is that I knew how to learn. And let me move forward. Keep going. Keep going.
Yep.
Right there. Based on what I have shared with you, I think that you will agree with me that I have earned and therefore own the right to tell you that I'm responsible. That's what I learned. So when it became time to be a banker, so I got a job at a bank or in school. I learned very quickly that banking, there are no banking degrees. If you go in and you learn it fast, you're going to do well. Everything we do as bankers is measuring, it's metrics. So if you're at the top, there's no denying you're at the top. You work hard, it's yours. That's the career for me. It didn't matter that I didn't have a degree anymore. Okay? Because I understand that. Now, why do I take the time to talk to you? You're not the only ones. The kids in Minneapolis and Paul get me all the time. I'm in the AVID speaking tour. And I do it for the following reason. There is nothing in this presentation that leads itself to believe that this thing is easy. It is not. It's actually hard. And the surprise is, as you grow up and you become an adult, it gets harder. It's 10 times harder. The difference is, life gets harder. The difference is, some of us get better at living. Having that sense of possibility goes a heck of a long way for that. The other reason is the following, is that all of that doesn't happen in a vacuum where things are just fair. For most of you, you're going to find out that in this country, beautiful and as much as I love it, with all its faults and faults, for from this big verse. I can't remember the author right now. All is false and false. For some of you, it will be extra difficult. I have faced that. I've stared it down. I acknowledge that for you. It sucks. I don't like it. But it's a fact that you will have to deal with. If you aspire to greatness, you will encounter the barriers that everybody encounters, and then some more just for you. But if it's possible, it won't matter. They won't be able to stop you. So you, in comparison to me, whether or not you know, you have an incredible amount of extra privilege that I did not have. You do. You have an advantage. You're ahead of me. The question is, what are you going to do about it? That privilege comes from a huge amount of responsibility. See, there are, in addition to the regular problems of life, there's a huge disparity in wealth in this country. Some have more than others, and more, the definition of who has more than others has to do with the color of your skin. You're not the only ones that can fix it, but you have the most potential. If you have not been told to this day that the reason you ought to do well in school, the reason you ought to pay attention is so that you can go forth and build wealth for you and yours, I am telling you now. And there's a huge difference between wealth and riches. Let me clarify. Riches is having things. And if you have things and you lose them, all of a sudden you're no one. But if you know how to build wealth, if you know how to make things, if you lose everything, you can get up the next day and do it again and make it again. That is wealth. That is the sense of possibility that you get. That's what the people that have. They have this just absolute canny sense that they can spend better all, come back the next day and do it again. Wealth. And for you, it is a necessity because someone has to fix the problem. Grown-ups are trying their best, but you own what some of us don't own anymore. Unlimited potential. And that's why you are at work. It is a necessity. What I want, what I know, okay, is that 200 years from now, when people read history books, that they look back like we do now, and they read Martinez, Perez, Garcia, in the same context that they read Vanderbilt, J.P. Morgan, Chase. Okay? The greatness of America requires it. It has been built, whether I like it or not, in most part by white men, no matter which way you look at it. There have been incredible women, there have been incredible people of color that contributed, but it has been built by white men. In 2050, there will be a minority majority. So if we're not willing to expect that the greatness of America come from those places, like you and me, then we're also saying that we are expecting the greatness of America to be less. It is therefore your responsibility to make sure that does not happen. There's no escape. That's why I tell you this thing. That's what I understand. That's what my children have been entrusted to do. So that when you get there, because I have no doubt that you will get there, your responsibility is also, if you have children, to make sure that one, they have more privilege than you had, two, that they go farther than you did, and that you become, by all intents and purposes, a professional parent, because that's what it takes. And it has to be intentional. You have to want to do it. In addition to that, if you get there, turn around and grab somebody by the collar and say, get up. Because that's what I'm doing to you right now. And I am only able to tell you that because of that. Again, I'm not telling you what to do. I am telling you a story because I want you to want to do it. You have to want to. That's my story.